Good morning, everyone. If you could take your seats, we're going to get started. Hopefully it'll be a great event and we'll get you out while the sun still shines. So before we get into the speeches and the ceremony, I'd like to lead everybody in the Pledge of Allegiance, so if you could all rise. Flags in the back of the room. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Please be seated. So before I get into my short speech, as everybody told me to make it, I just want to recognize a few people in the room here today before we get started, because the backbone of any of these athletic programs here at Algonquin is our parent support groups, our coaches, and staff here at Algonquin. So I'm just going to go through the list of people who I know are here. If you could just raise your hand after I mention your name, because indeed these people have helped so much. Coach Doherty, Brian Doherty, helps in so many different ways with boosters and coaching our student athletes. Mike Masserino, our AD, superb young gentleman. Greg Martineau, our superintendent. Dr. Walsh, our principal. Susan Burns, the backbone and support of the athletic program. Gene Fedak, a coach here at Algonquin, if you could raise your hand. Emily Philbin, who helps us be all we can be with our program and helps this Hall of Fame event in so many different ways. Laurie Borden, a coach, if you could raise your hand and wave. We also have Peter Serene, who has been a coach here at Algonquin. Peter. Brian Kramer, are you in the room? There he is, coach. We also have some folks, parents in the room, who have been members of boosters, who have done the behind-the-scenes work for their teams and their student athletes. So I'd like to recognize Eileen Cozzolino, who's been a longtime booster rep. We also have Carolyn Venzel. Are you hiding somewhere? Couldn't make it, okay. We also have Chuck Burke, who was a booster president for many years, and Katrina Hren, you also helped out many years with boosters. So I'd just like a quick round of applause for everybody who has helped out. As always, thank you to all those folks. So I want to take a few minutes to welcome everybody here today on behalf of Algonquin Regional High School, the Athletic Hall of Fame Committee, who is at this table. We're not all here, some were traveling, but if the committee could wave and say hello to the crowd, we thank you for your time. And also on behalf of the athletic department, welcome. We are here today to honor and recognize the fine student athletes who excelled at their sports. The sport teams they participated in made up the other half of their Algonquin educational experience. As the motto goes, athletics is just an extension of the classroom. All the extracurricular activities at ARHS, sports, music, the dramatic arts, math team, robotics, just to name a small few, are part of the excellent educational experience offered at Algonquin. Athletics provides the student athlete the ability to learn, develop, and excel at their work ethic, dedication, teamwork, personal growth, and to set goals, achieve goals, and excel beyond expected goals. The inductees here today and the past inductees listed on the Hall of Fame wall are united in the fact that they all obtained a positive high school experience and made themselves, their teams, and their teammates better. They all achieved outstanding and spectacular results. Furthermore, these student athletes we are honoring today have gone on to become fine, outstanding members of our community, communities across our country, and communities around the world. In closing, I want to say one of the most important aspects of my life is community, coaching kids, donating time and resources, helping to keep the ship afloat. That is why today we are also honoring Tom Lowe. Tom, if you could wave to the crowd. Tom Lowe is a well-recognized, longtime supporter of athletic boosters, Algonquin athletics, and other school and town programs and activities. Tom is receiving our Spirit Award. On a personal note, there was one individual in this room today who I'm grateful to be able to call my friend. His achievements go far beyond any speech or words that I could put together on paper. This year, I am personally honored to be part of the induction ceremony for retired athletic director emeritus Fran Wedding. His skills, support, along with his love for athletics, have touched so many student athletes, parents, and coaches. Thank you, Fran. Let's have a warm round of applause for all our inductees and their parents. Don't forget the parents, who made the sacrifices in getting their kids to practices and games. Along the way, their parents helped their student athletes build a foundation for what type of person they became later in life. Enjoy the day.
Thank you, Rob. I appreciate that. I'd just like to say congratulations. I have a quick little remark before we get into some short remarks from our superintendent. But welcome, everybody, to the 11th Annual Algonquin Regional High School Athletics Hall of Fame ceremony. I'm excited, honored, and privileged to have the opportunity to be your MC for the day. We are inducting a truly outstanding class that exemplifies what Algonquin T-Hawk pride, T-Hawk grit is all about. As it states in my letter, congratulations. We gather today to honor you, and we celebrate your dedication to the ideals of Algonquin Regional High School and your willingness to devote time and effort to our sports programs. You are joining a very prestigious group of outstanding individuals as you enter into the Algonquin Regional High School Athletic Hall of Fame. Congratulations. Next, I would like to introduce our Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Greg Martineau, who has a tremendous passion and support for Algonquin and is truly unmatched. Greg, would you like to say a few words?
Welcome. I'll start with a disclosure, and that is the only way I'm going to be invited to a Hall of Fame banquet is as a guest, not as an inductee. So I'm very privileged to be here, so thank you. Congratulations to the 2019 Hall of Fame inductees. On behalf of the public schools of Northborough and Southborough, I would like to recognize the contributions that you've made to our athletic program, school, and community. Today, we gather together to honor you and continue Algonquin's tradition of acknowledging and celebrating excellence. As a learning organization, our purpose is to prepare our students for the world beyond high school, whether it's launching a career or attending college. For our students, these lessons take place across a variety of settings: classrooms, auditoriums, for some, the principal's office, gymnasiums, courts, tracks, ice rinks, and the fields. These lessons are facilitated and taught by teachers, educator support specialists, and coaches. I'm confident that each person here today can identify an adult or adults in his or her schooling career who made a positive impact on who he or she is today. For me, many of the most impactful learning of my high school career took place outside the classroom and in the athletic setting. I was fortunate to have incredible coaches who were dedicated, caring, smart, and demanding. I also had great teammates. Only nicknames used, though: Elrod, Wenner, Gazo. I'm sure many of you can also share some nicknames. I learned how to be a teammate, how to work hard, how to persist, how to set goals, overcome defeat, be graceful in victory, overcome injuries, how to lead, that there was always another level to be reached, how to compete, and how to have fun. What I did not recognize at that time was that in the athletic arena, I was given a gift enduring friendships, lessons, memories, and confidence. I'm confident that my story is not unique, and many of you were also given the same gift. Today, we celebrate your accomplishments as athletes and coaches of Algonquin Regional High School. Each of you has exemplified the skills of dedication, commitment, hard work, teamwork, and perseverance. These are the skills that we seek to instill in all of our students. Above all else, you've made a lasting positive impact on the Algonquin community. On behalf of the Northborough and Southborough Regional School Committee and the district, I congratulate you on your achievement and thank you for your contributions to the ARHS community. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Martineau. So really, real quick, the agenda is going to be, we're going to now get into our luncheon. Enjoy the awesome food that we have here. No particular order. I will come up, I will tap on a couple tables, we can go up, and we'll just, go through the order as we go. Enjoy a nice luncheon, we'll reconvene, we'll come back here, and we'll start learning a little bit more of our inductees that are getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. So enjoy the lunch, I'll come by, and we'll be back in a little while. Thank you. So before I get started into introducing the 11 inductees, I would like to recognize some very important people. Dr. Sarah Walsh, our principal, whose boundless energy and enthusiasm has rejuvenated everyone she works with. Sarah will be coming back towards the end to make some closing remarks. Mr. Rob Berger, our Hall of Fame committee chair, and the entire Hall of Fame committee for their efforts and support in putting this together. Stan Geiges and family for catering this and providing us with this wonderful meal. Thank you, guys. Yeah. No longer here, but Mr. Vincent and the students who provided us with the music today as you guys arrived. Emily Philbin, English teacher, 4-time state championship coach, rugby coach, and who is editing all of our profiles and making them work for the program and our plaques. Thank you, Emily. Members of the Athletic Council who are here today for their dedication to Algonquin athletes and their proud tradition. Athletic Council members, they may or may not, they had to leave, but thank you. And finally, Susan Burns for her many years of dedication and commitment to ARHS athletics and for putting all these pieces together in order for this event to occur. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. So first up, we are going to do our Spirit Award. And our Spirit Award recipient, and this award goes to an individual with a long history in the town of Northborough. And as you can see from his profile, Tom Lowe, in addition to being an outstanding local contributor and supporter to Algonquin, and has dedicated many years of his life to the community of Northborough. Before, Tom, you take the podium, Mr. Rob Berger would like to say a few words.
As you see, I didn't bring a piece of paper up tonight to honor Tom because this one comes from the heart. Tom, anytime anybody in this community needs to run an event, sponsor a program, your name comes up first because you have the warm hand to give out the gift of your being and donations and time and materials. We love you. We can't thank you enough for all you do for Algonquin, for boosters, for our teams. So we want to thank you. If you could come up, we have an award for you. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Spirit Award for you, for all you do. Congratulations. Appreciate that. Great. Thank you. You want to say a few words?
Thank you to all of you, the committee, the friends I see out here, all the teachers that have made such a difference in so many of my kids' lives, of all of our kids' lives, the coaches, the support staff, the athletic department. It's just been great. I'd like to thank you for awarding me this recognition. The Algonquin Athletics Department has been tireless in helping to improve participation at all levels of Algonquin sports. We've all seen it. We've all seen it through our kids, and we've seen it through the smiles at the end of the year, despite whatever happened that year. I've been in business in town for 33 years as an owner, and I've worked there since 1978, Lowe's Market. I don't always remember individual names, but I do remember all the families, I remember all the events, and I remember where I made a difference, maybe with your parents, maybe I made a difference with your kid. It didn't really matter. It's just that if you're in business to make a difference, it's much easier than being in business to make money. So I appreciate that. My Algonquin spirit takes me from the glorious days of the Midland Leagues, you know, kid of the 70s. And when you played your neighboring towns and always walked around like your team was going to beat Shrewsbury, I'm going to beat Algonquin, I'm going to beat this, because you do know I'm a Ranger.
We know.
All right. And I remember that the Midland Leagues was based on an area, and we played against our other towns that were in our neighborhoods. And now that the leagues are based, you know, on school populations, it's just a different way of looking at it. I do remember that most of my Algonquin spirit started with Mark Fidrich, of course, in the 1970s, and it's gone through all the years of my kids, all the way up to even Coach Taggart, you know, being this close this year and leading those girls from the soccer team all the way to the States. I've been blessed to watch my own kids learn and participate in many levels of Northborough and Algonquin sports, watch great teachers who doubled as great coaches, sat in the cold rain, sat in the hot sun, in jubilation and in the agony of defeat, all the while thinking how lucky we are to have so much available to them educationally and athletically here at Algonquin. So I thank you to the committee, I thank you to Algonquin, and I thank you to the community of Northborough and Southborough for giving me the opportunity to be part of your life. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. We had two inductees who could not join us today. First is Eric Wright, who was relocated down to North Carolina. He'll be spending the holidays with his family and could not make it here today. One of my goals as Hall of Fame is to have the absolute best of the best from each sport inducted. Eric fits this description. He's one of the top of the list when it comes to a very successful baseball program from 1996 to 2000. Only 4 members in the high school history, and he's a part of the 100 hit club, playing in district finals 3 out of 4 years and playing the state championship at Fenway Park. Eric is a stellar example of what a student athlete should be both on and off the field. So since Eric could not be here today, speaking on the behalf of Eric Wright is his cousin Dave Anderson. Dave.
How you doing? So Eric wrote this. I'm just going to read what he wrote, so pretend I'm Eric standing here talking. I wish I were able to be here in person to accept this humbling honor. While I regret missing the day, my wife is, in her words, extremely uncomfortable pregnant and due with their first child any day. There aren't many things which would keep him away from this, but the birth of their daughter is on that list. I would like to congratulate the other 2019 Algonquin Hall of Fame inductees. This day is a tremendous honor. I wish I could share with you all personally to hear your stories and accomplishments. I have no doubt you are each amazing people, excuse me, and very much deserve this honor. It remains tremendously challenging for me to articulate how much being inducted in the Algonquin Hall of Fame means to me. This experience is humbling in a way I have not felt before. While I feel tremendously honored, I can't help wanting to pass this feeling on to those amazing people in my life who really deserve the credit. First is the coaches. Neil Burke coached baseball many successful years, including my 4 at Algonquin. I wish to express a heartfelt thanks to Neil for guiding me and our teams. He was integral to our success. Our teams were in the semifinals, finals, or state finals 3 out of my 4 years. With Neil as a coach, that was not an accident. Frank Dooley, great basketball coach. I learned so much from him. What made him truly amazing as a coach is how much he was an even better person. I am grateful to have learned from him. Second is my teammates. Since Mike Masserino is facilitating the day, I'm guessing you all know him to some degree. Well, you may not know, as Mike and I graduated in the same class together, so we played basketball and baseball for 4 years. Beyond that, we played AAU baseball from ages 11 to 16, played Legion baseball, and went on to compete against each other in college. Mike is just one of the shining examples of the numerous teammates who helped elevate my play. I was better because of my teammates' dedication and hard work. Win or lose, we had a lot of fun and made a lot of memories, and I continue to cherish this today. Lastly, my parents. The other reason I could not be in person today is because my parents drove overnight to celebrate Thanksgiving with me and my family, an uncomfortable pregnant wife. This is just another example of the countless sacrifices my parents have made for me. When I was growing up, never took vacations. They carted me around so I could play sports. These examples are just the tip of the sacrifice and heartache iceberg my parents both loved and endured for me. They are the real Hall of Famers in my eyes. I would like again to congratulate everyone inducted today. I myself remain eternally grateful for this tremendous honor. Thank you, Derrick Wright.
Yeah, we'll photocopy you.
Yeah, we'll Photoshop my face. Oh. All right. Thank you. All right. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Our second inductee who could not join us today is Derrick Swart, who's currently living in New Delhi, India. Derrick is considered one of our top track athletes to come through the school. He held school records in the long jump, triple jump, high jump, pole vault, and javelin. Derrick was a winter and spring state champion in the long jump, district champion in long and triple jump. It was ranked number 2 in all of New England in 2001. He credits longtime track and field coaches Andy Bichetto and Ken Morin for instilling in him that anything is possible as long as you are provided with an opportunity. A member of Derrick's family unfortunately could not make it due to circumstances beyond their control. So can we please join me in a round of applause to congratulate Derrick Swart. For our next inductee, I turn to Fran Wedding. Fran is a former athletic director for 18 years. Fran started in 1997 when I was a student walking these halls. I consider Fran not only a mentor, but a close friend. His passion, dedication for ARHS is unparalleled. He started the Athletic Council, empowering our athletes through positive sportsmanship, and is respected amongst his peers as one of the prominent athletic directors in the state during his time as AD, as he continues to work in those areas. Fran always keeps our student athletes as top priority. An example of this is over the 18 years as AD, Fran expanded the athletic department by adding 10 more varsity teams and several more junior varsity teams, all with the goal of allowing our athletes an opportunity to join educational athletics through ARHS. I am honored to be able to welcome Fran Wedding to our illustrious Hall of Fame. Fran.
I didn't know I was going first. I usually just talk off the cuff, but Sarah warned me that I had to stay on script, so I wrote a few things down. I am honored to be inducted and to join such a tremendous legacy, including this year's inductees. Thank you to the selection committee for considering and selecting me for induction. Congratulations to my fellow inductees. I almost wish that I was emceeing this because I would have a story about every single one of them. But let me say this, they certainly are the very best of the best. I've spoken to each of them today when they got here, and a couple of them seemed surprised that they got in. I was like, are you kidding me? That's what this Hall of Fame is really about. It's about Algonquin's tradition, Algonquin's legacy, and it's about the best of the best, and today's inductees are a good example of that. This is kind of like a circle of life for me. My first year at Algonquin, I watched Mike Masserino pitch and hit his way into our Hall of Fame. And now here he is as the AD inducting me. So that's been a special moment for me. I actually thought I was getting into the Hall of Fame along with Mike Roy because of our performance in the girls' ice hockey faculty games. But that aside, I always tried to be fair and to put the best interest of our student athletes first above all else. And I hope that that's what those student athletes and coaches that worked for me believe. As Dick Walsh constantly reminded me, I was just doing my job. The success of the program is really about the sacrifice, the dedication, and the commitment of our student athletes, our excellent coaching staff, and the support we received from the community and from the administration. When I did learn I was being inducted, I did start to reflect a little bit on what this experience has meant. And just a couple of things I wanted to share. My most memorable moment is the 2006 state championship baseball team, watching Neil Burke's face when they won and stormed the field. Neil and Laurie and Mike, three of my best coaches, Emily Philbin, another one, Renee Moulton, who's here, Mike. So many tremendous coaches, but Neil and I started at Algonquin the same year, and we retired together. And we were not only colleagues, but we're best of friends. And that moment when that team won the state championship was just phenomenal. I think probably the most significant moment was when we lost the Murphy sisters. I remember going to the wake and Michelle saying to me, "I'm now your soccer manager." Just her strength, her passion was unbelievable. And then David Cooley starting to chant in the stands, "We have angels." And that team went on to win a state championship. My most enjoyable moment was when I had to take over the softball team. And I had my first year, softball coach left us about halfway through the season, and somebody had to coach the team, so I took it. Melissa Festino, who was a student at the time, was my catcher. And then having the opportunity to come back and coach with Melissa and Kristen Morcone is probably my most enjoyable moment. And I think the most rewarding moment is having Algonquin graduates come back and be in the building as teachers and coaches. Amelia Davis, Braun, who's here, Melissa Festino, who's not here, Mike, who was a coach and now is athletic director. Seeing those student athletes learn what Algonquin athletics is all about and then come back and teach in the building and coach in the building was by far the most rewarding experience for me. In closing, I do have a couple of people that I'd like to thank. The Booster Club for all they do, events like this, the Hall of Fame, and endless hours serving our students and athletes. The administration that ever since Bob Melican, Bob Melican's vision was for us to have the best athletic program and the best facilities in Central Mass. And we got there. We absolutely are the best program in Central Mass. And I understand there's a huge movement for a whole new athletic complex with turf fields, which would put us back on top in terms of the facilities that we have as well. And I was very, very fortunate, having been retired for 4 years, to have the opportunity to come back for a year and work with Sarah. Sarah's energy and passion for this school and this community is unbelievable. I feel so fortunate to have had the opportunity to work with her just for that 1 year. Dick Walsh isn't here today, and I'm not sure if he's talking to me or not right now. For those of you that know Dick, you know what that's like. But he certainly was a huge inspiration to me during my time here. John Brisco, who now has been here more years than I have, but John was always by my side and always a huge help whenever I needed anything, be it professionally in terms of covering events or personally with my multiple injuries. John has always been there for me. My dedicated coaching staff, just unbelievable. I really do firmly believe that we have the best coaching staff in the state, never mind Central Mass. It's just the passion, the dedication, the hours that this coaching staff puts into their job is unmatched. The wonderful student athletes, I was joking with Emily earlier because she's the only student athlete who ever got my cell phone. And I gave it to her because she was being recruited and she needed to give it to college coaches. Little did I know, like 5 years later, when my son convinced me to go on Snapchat, I'd get this message, "Oh my God, Mr. Whitten, I can't believe you're on Snapchat." Delete. Of course, my go-to team. When I was the AD at Algonquin, I had a nucleus of people. Many of them are in this room right now. Renee Moulton, Emily Philbin, who were also my bodyguards, Justin McKay. I had a group of coaches that I called my go-to team, and they were always there for me, whether it was needing somebody to announce a game or carry the down markers or work the ticket booth or whatever. But my go-to team became a very special group of people to me. Susan Burns, who was my assistant, but we all know she really did the job. It should be Susan who's up here taking the plaque instead of me. I can't thank her enough for all the years she dedicated to the program and the way she helped me out. My brothers from BC, one of them's here today. Don't believe anything he tells you, but they're the ones that kind of taught me those basic skills I needed in terms of discipline and organization and hard work. And then, of course, my family. My sisters are here today, and they're still dumbfounded that I was an educator for 35 years because I hated school growing up and tried to avoid going to school at all costs, but I guess I had to make up for lost time. My son, Fran, who came here all the way from New Mexico, growing up, by no choice of his own, he was a gym rat. He had no choice but to come to school with me and went to as many games and practices as I did. But I appreciate the fact that he made the effort to be here today. And then, of course, my wife, Sue, who was always there, good times and bad. Not that there were that many bad times, but there were days that I might have come home a little bit stressed out. She could certainly understand that as a building principal as well. But I do want to especially thank my wife and my son. And again, thank you to all of you for this wonderful experience.
Thank you, Fran. Our next inductee is Lori Griffin, who is a great part and responsible for putting two of our women's sports teams on the map. Thanks to her outstanding leadership and role as head coach for both field hockey and women's lacrosse programs. Under her guidance rose the lacrosse program to prominence in central Massachusetts for 4 years after lacrosse became a varsity sport in 1998. They found themselves one game away from the Massachusetts State Championship game. Lori also went on to have a very successful collegiate career at Plymouth State University. Please welcome Ms. Lori Griffin to the class of 2019.
Hello. When Mike called me on Labor Day weekend, I figured he was deep into Fran Witten's Rolodex of retired coaches desperate for a freshman field hockey coach. So when he explained why he was calling, I was certainly surprised and felt very honored. I want to thank the Hall of Fame committee for nominating me. I know there's a lot of time and planning that goes into this, so I am deeply appreciative. I want to congratulate the other inductees as well. I happened to arrive at Algonquin the same year Fran did, so sharing this moment with him is very, very special. I feel lucky to have worked for and with such a positive professional. He has a genuinely warm and caring way about him that greatly benefited the student athletes in the Northborough, Southborough communities. I also fondly remember Susan Burns, who always had a friendly smile and uplifting spirit. I'm so happy that my family is able to all be here today to share this moment with me. I especially want to thank my husband, John. He has always made me feel that my coaching was so important and made sure that it could happen as we tried to balance many things. I don't know where I would be without him today. I feel very blessed to have coached at Algonquin for 8 out of my 32 years of coaching. I've had the joy and privilege of working with so many wonderful and talented young women in lacrosse and field hockey. So many, countless, precious memories. Having the opportunity to coach a first-year varsity lacrosse team was very exhilarating and rewarding. Of course, it was important for us to go up against established teams like Weston, Framingham, Acton, Boxborough, and Concord during those first years. We learned about the pace of the game and required skill level. Those teams basically gave us a clinic and taught us what we would have to do to compete at their level. The players took everything in, and results began to happen. As most of us would probably agree, being on a team is to be a member of a very, very special family where we work towards shared goals and together deal with unexpected disappointment. With each practice and game, we not only improved our skills in play, but became close in the process. Teamwork and competition in sport provides an amazing training ground, which results in countless opportunities to grow and learn about life. Sport mirrors life, as we know. We learn how to cope with ups and downs that practices and games naturally present, and hopefully learn to be gracious in winning and losing. Commitment, dedication, perseverance grow as a result. Over the years, I have been particularly struck by and incredibly proud of the athletes who were injured and may have missed days, weeks, and even a season, but would continue to come to practices and games. Their role became unknowingly that of inspiration to me and to their teammates. There is an obvious family connection that makes today extra special and unique. My stepdaughter Jen and I were on the field together during that first varsity season in 1998 and 6 seasons after that in lacrosse and field hockey. I put a lot of leadership and responsibility on the captains of my teams. They were the pulse of the team. I depended on their insight and valued their input. I had frequent conversations with their parents about if they could be a fly on the wall at practices or team meetings, that they would be so proud of their daughters. Well, I guess I could say I was that fly on the wall when it came to Jen, for she was a captain in both sports. I couldn't have been more proud of her then and now for the woman and mother that she has become. As I shared in the program, I believe when God closes a door, he opens a window. My coaching at Algonquin was at a time of great challenges because of my daughter Haley's medical issues and frequent hospitalizations. But it was through those challenges that my family and I experienced an amazing outpouring of love and support from the Algonquin community. Words of encouragement, meals provided for my family by parents after practices or games. There were many teams who visited with Haley and other clients at the pediatric nursing home that she lived in at the time. Whether it was to do arts and crafts or to clean their wheelchairs, they unselfishly gave up their time to show how much they cared. This gesture of love not only meant a lot to my family, but to the caregivers as well. They would share with me how uplifting it was and how it made their day to see these bright, happy, spirited students engage with Haley and others. This Algonquin community became a lifeline of incredible support. So it is with love and eternal gratitude for which I can't say thank you enough. Sorry.
Congratulations. Thank you, Lori, and congratulations again. And we have our second coach that's going into the Hall of Fame. We now have Mike Roy, who was a former ARHS graduate, player, and boys hockey coach. Although I have always believed teachers make the best coaches, Mike is an exception to that rule. Mike got the most out of his athletes, and he is truly an outstanding coach of the game. During his time as coach, the boys hockey program was regarded as one of the top programs in Central Mass. Mike Roy had an overall record of 226 and 131 and 17 over 17 seasons. His teams played in the Central Mass Finals 4 times, and they were Roy Conference champions 9 times over his career. It's my pleasure to introduce new inductee, Mike Roy.
Good afternoon. There's a few people here that I would like to thank, because without them, I wouldn't be standing here. I'd like to start by thanking my players. As you all know, having good players makes it a whole lot easier to be a good coach. I believe I am the only coach in Algonquin hockey history with 19 regular season wins. We had a lot of good players that year. Unfortunately, I'm the only coach with 19 regular season losses. We didn't have enough good players that year. Thank you to my family, my wife Karen, my children Kendall and Kyle, to my mom and dad. I'm not sure if you know, my father was the first hockey coach at Algonquin, and he was a big part of starting the program 43 years ago, which is amazing to me because I remember 43 years ago. To my assistant coaches, Tom Farrell, Sky Moore, and Doug Ullman, we made a great team, had some fun, and we won a bunch of games. To Craig Boudelier, he likes to think that he taught me everything I know about coaching while I was his assistant for the first 4 years of my coaching life. Thank you, Craig. Lastly, thank you to Fran. Fran was my AD for 15 out of the 17 years that I coached. He and I became good friends, and I looked forward to our conversations during my visits to the school. Congratulations to all of the other inductees. Thank you very much.
Our next inductee, Emily Burke, is considered one of the top athletes to walk the halls at ARHS. 3-sport athlete in field hockey, basketball, and tennis. Her work ethic and competitive spirit were unmatched. Emily participated in the state finals in field hockey, on a state championship team in tennis, and reached the state semifinals in basketball, and captain of all 3 teams. The amount of 3-sport athletes nowadays are dwindling. Not only did Emily participate in 3 sports, but enjoyed the highest level of success in each of the 3 sports, and the memories that were created will never be forgotten. Welcome, Hall of Famer, Emily Burke.
Hi, everyone. It's shocking. I sang the national anthem a couple times when I was a senior. I'm not a singer. And I'm more nervous for this right now than those times. So maybe I'll break out into song in a bit. So thank you so much for today, committee and everyone. This is a huge honor to be here today with my fellow inductees. Also, congratulations to my fellow inductees. It's awesome that we're here. I have a couple thank yous. First, to my coaches, field hockey coach Dan Welty, basketball coaches Ron Jones, Mel Festino, and Peter Serene. For my tennis, it was Julie Doyle and Mr. and Mrs. McCurdy. All 4 years with these same coaches, it was awesome, the relationship that I was able to build with all of them. Seeing them in the halls to on the field, the relationship didn't really change too much, so I'm really grateful for them and the relationships. To my parents, for their constant support and love, you know, for moving to Northborough, bringing me to Algonquin, thank you. Grandparents, thank you so much for being here today, driving me to unbelievably amounts of practices, games, tryouts, also to coming to probably every single game. There's actually a time where I think I owe my grandfather for a win. It was a doubles match my sophomore year with Christina Hayes. It was against Westboro, and I hit a shot down the line in the alley and probably was out, but my grandfather saw it and just goes, "Yeah!" And I looked at Tina and I was like, that was definitely out, but the Westboro team they could not go against my grandfather's word and cheering, so thank you for that. And yeah, just to close it up, thank you again and congratulations to everyone inducted today.
Yes, you do. Actually, to answer your question, yes, all of our inductees are keeping their plaques today, and and there's a second plaque that we've actually already gone ahead and put in our Hall of Fame committee on the wall. So when you come and watch a basketball game or a wrestling event or any indoor events, you will see that our Hall of Fame outside our main gym will have the second plaque up there as of last week. So it's good. Our next inductee, Mike Hren. And I can feel confident with saying one of, if not the best wrestler to compete here at ARHS. Mike's humble demeanor and sheer enthusiasm, athleticism I should say, makes him a standout in the comparison to others. The accolades and accomplishments are unprecedented. Two-time New England finalist, a few wrestling programs have ever accomplished. Mike started making a name for himself as early as a freshman year, and he enjoyed an 82-7 record his junior and senior years and finished 123 wins. His name's plastered all over the wrestling team plaques and banners, as it should be, with so many amazing accomplishments over the years. But what I enjoyed most about Mike and watching him compete was that he enjoyed the true essence of the sport. He was a hard worker, a fierce competitor, and always enjoyed every moment of his experience with his teammates, his family, and his friends. I'm proud to welcome Mike Wren to the Algonquin Regional High School Hall of Fame.
Hello, how's everything going? Just wanted to thank everyone for allowing me to be here today. Thank you to all the committee and all the other inductees as well. I want to appreciate it, and it's a very big honor. I also want to reiterate some of what Fran said and what Mr. Lowe said. It's a very big community, and we wouldn't be here without Fran as well. He helped us get the team started back in 2007? 6? A long time ago. So he really helped us get that started back in when I was in 8th grade, and he really helped us. I didn't know what a petition was back in 8th grade, so we started to get a lot of signatures. People asked if the sport was fun, and I was like, it's a sport. So we got a lot of people to sign up, and by process of elimination, we got a lot of people in there, freshman and sophomore years, which actually filled out a full team, I think, junior year. but to also reiterate about the community as well. Mr. Lowe, who was inducted earlier, we actually ate one of your turkeys a couple weeks ago. I think Adam Skopetsky went and picked it up. So just kind of whole family atmosphere in that how everyone's kind of connected in some way or another. A couple people that I wanted to thank today and kind of take you through that progression. Like I said, it was in 8th grade about when there wasn't a team at Algonquin for wrestling. So we started getting that petition, starting to get some interest for everybody, and really tried to get everyone to get on board. And then freshman year, we were actually practicing at the Fay School in Southborough. So we didn't have a team, really had a team yet. We didn't have a mat or a room. So we were down in Fay practicing there. So it was a lot of big commitment for a lot of the teammates and a lot of the wrestlers as well. So that was pretty cool. And then in my sophomore year, we actually had a mat donated from USA Wrestling to give you guys a little bit of a background. And that was a really big honor and a really big thing to see from the community of wrestling, which is very similar to kind of the community we see here, where everyone's kind of trying to help out and everyone's trying to like give everyone a helping hand. So that was really awesome to see. And then I want to thank a couple people during that span. I know we have Danny Balboni here, who helped me out before in youth and in 8th grade while we're still trying to get the program together over in Framingham. So I know I went over there a lot to wrestle with that team as well. So thank you for that. Coaches, a lot of the coaches weren't able to be here today, but we had a really big and a really good group of coaches where they all got a little bit of support. So one was the tactician, one was the motivation, and the other one was kind of the feel-good, kept everything light, because sometimes you need that in the sport of wrestling. So that was really cool to see. And then obviously my parents, they drove me around everywhere. They were my biggest cheerleaders, my biggest teammates, you know, my biggest parents. So really appreciate them driving me around everywhere and, you know, helping me get that program started, because when I was in middle school, I thought I was going to be a basketball player. And I'm not that tall. So I kept getting told you can't teach height. So I really appreciate them kind of pushing me in that direction, and I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for them. So I want to thank you guys all for giving me the moment to speak with you today, and thank you for all the other inductees and the committee, and thanks. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, it's yours.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all right. I get it. Absolutely. Good shot, Mike. Next, I would like to introduce Chloe Hertz. Chloe was a varsity soccer player for 3 years and a gymnast superstar for 4 years. 2 times gymnastics team champion, 3 times state floor champion, 2 times state vault champion. Chloe's former coach, Amelia Braun, who's in attendance today, says of Chloe, "Chloe is a true competitor in her tireless efforts to excel in athletics. No matter what we asked of her, no matter how little notice we gave her, no matter what the challenge was, she was ready, she was committed, and she was hungry. But what made her a champion on top of being a true competitor was her dedication to her team. In all the ways that she shined bright, this was where she shined the brightest, and why we are so proud to be her coaches. Please welcome Chloe Hertz.
I'd first like to start by apologizing to you, Mike. When he first called me, I thought it was a solicitor. And so I had a friend answer, and I really appreciate you staying on the line and bearing with us. But I'm actually really excited to get this award more for an opportunity to reiterate how important athletics are. And I think coaches as well as parents play a really special role in our development during these years. I know that my coaches were a second family to me Amelia, Matt, Miss Moulton, and Mr. T. They all, as along with your parents, really invest themselves in you, and their faith is unwavering no matter what the circumstance. And I know for teenagers like me, I was a little wily, and I know that Algonquin Athletics really gave me an opportunity to channel that energy and develop as a person, and it really has influenced everything moving forward and, you know, the person I've become. And I just want to say that I hope it continues and that other kids are given that opportunity, because the lessons you learn and the person you develop into because of these sports really translate so far and beyond the walls of this school. And I'm just really grateful, and I hope that at some point in my life I can pass that torch on. So yeah, thank you.
Our next inductee put girls rugby on the map. Kelsey Borden started the girls rugby program, and without her involvement, there would never have been a girls rugby program at all. First starting as a club sport, being recognized by the MAA, the girls rugby team has gone on to win multiple state championships. Kelsey and the girls rugby team won 3 state championships during her time and is still the only player who has ever earned All-American honors. Coach Philbin, who was her coach when the program was formed and is still current coach now, says of Kelsey, her determination and refusal to settle for anything less than greatness. To thank for not only beginning the girls rugby at ARHS, but also paving the way for countless ruggers to follow in her unparalleled footsteps. Kelsey Borden, your 2019 inductee.
If you had asked me when I was 5 if I'd ever play rugby, I would have told you no, because I didn't want to play in the snow. But my parents' relentless exposure to the sport kind of left me with no other choice. I remember going into 8th grade year, we went down to a sevens tournament in Cape Cod, and my mom came out with a split eye, blood everywhere, and a pink dress. And I knew from that day that that was the sport I was going to play. And so after that, I kind of got my mom on board to decide that when I go become a freshman at Algonquin, we're going to try to start a team. So we found Emily Philbin, and she might have said I stalked her, but in reality, it was just relentless determination to be able to play the sport that I knew I was meant to. And so there's a lot of people that I want to thank, Philbin being one of them, because without her, this would never have happened, along with my mom, who I might have gotten that relentless determination from, and the refusal to hear a word no. So thank you, Mom. And for Fran Wedding, because without him, it definitely would not have happened. And I might have stalked him a little bit too. Thank you for the support from my parents, from my grandparents, and the continuous support from my husband, who's allowed me to continue coaching, even in Montana. So thank you for everyone being here today. And I really appreciate this opportunity. And congratulations to the other inductees.
Last but not least, Maynard Southern. Maynard is being inducted as a significant contributor to ARHS. People need to understand and recognize the proud tradition Algonquin has, and Maynard was a part of that philosophy. Maynard was lived in the borough since 1989. Has 4 children that graduated from ARHS, and for 16 years, he dedicated his time to running the scoreboard and shot clock for both boys and girls basketball games. Since leaving ARHS in 2015, Maynard continued his career as a scoreboard and shot clock operator and is currently working at Dartmouth College for the NCAA men and women's basketball, ice hockey, and lacrosse programs. Please welcome Maynard Southern.
It's kind of hard to believe that anybody considers a scoreboard operator to be a career. In 1999, my oldest son was in 8th grade over at the Trotter Middle School, and we had read in the paper about the Algonquin basketball team, and he was getting really excited about coming to Algonquin. And so we threw him and the 3 other kids into the VW van and decided to come over and watch a basketball game. And we walked into the old gym. It was filled with people. Old wooden gym, reminded me of my high school. And they introduced the players out on the court, and Mike was one of them, and Eric Wright was one of them, and Dallas Mall, big tall kid named Zach Hutchins came out. And then the announcer said, would everybody please stand, take off your hat, we're going to sing the national anthem. And Zach Hutchins stepped forward, and in a beautiful, clear voice, he sang the national anthem. And I sat there and went, oh my gosh, my kids have got such a great future ahead of them here. That was my introduction to Algonquin athletics, music and cultural arts, and later I found out academics too, because I think some of those athletes were scholar athletes. Fast forward to December of 2002, my oldest son had already been here a couple of years, and my second son was now a JV basketball player. And you know what the stands look like for a JV basketball game? It's the parents of the JV basketball players are the only ones. So it wasn't quite as full as it was that night with Mike. And Fran Wedding comes over, and he says, we need somebody to do the shot clock. Anybody here know how to do the shot clock? And all the parents look at each other, and nobody's doing anything, and I put my hand up in the air. And Fran brings me over to the table, and I'm sitting at the table, and I'm thinking, this is terrific. I've got coaches on both sides. The refs come over and talk to me about what's going on the court, and it was just exciting. And I don't remember what happened with the game, but I was pushing the clicker really well. And the game was over, and I start to get up, and Fran goes, where are you going? And I go, what, do I need to clean it? He goes, no, you have to do the varsity game too. And that was the start of this career of doing the scoreboard, and it was wonderful. So we're going to fast forward again to 2009. My youngest son, this is the 4th child, had just tried out for the freshman basketball team, and he didn't make it. And this was tough. Our family had enjoyed a lot of years of basketball, and he didn't make the team. And Fran walks up to Lane and says, hey, Lane, could you help your dad at the table? Because I think he could use a little bit of help. And so for the next 4 years, I got to run the basketball table with my son right at my side. And we did the scoreboard and the shot clock, and we traded back and forth and did things. And it was a really wonderful 4 years in my career at Algonquin to be able to spend that time side by side with my youngest son before he went off. Well, I thought it was all over at the end of 2011 when Fran came up to me and said, Maynard, have you and Betsy got any more kids? And he talked me into keep on keeping on. I did it for another 4 years, actually 3 years with Fran, and then Kara Ellis came in, and I did it for a year for her. And it's not a career, it's just fun is what you do it for. You do it because you like working with people like Fran Wedding. You want to work with Emily Philbin and the different coaches that come through, and you enjoy the professional nature of the officials. And you want to see every single one of those kids get out there and throw themselves on the court and get excited and sweat, and it's just a wonderful thing to be a part of. So I wanted to say to Mr. Martineau, you don't have to be an athlete to get into the Hall of Fame. You just have to be part of a wonderful thing, and that's what Algonquin community is. It's a wonderful place, and I would embrace and encourage everybody to keep it that way. Thank you very much.
Congrats again.
Thank you very much.
Nice job. Thank you. Now I would like to introduce our principal, Dr. Sarah Walsh, to say a few words.
Thank you, Mike. Before I actually start my speech, I do want to go on record that that is the shortest Franny speech I have ever heard. I think that writing it down on paper helped out, and thank you for your kind words. As the principal of Algonquin, I am honored to be here today with our community supporters, family and friends of our inductees, and of course, our guests of honors. As a lifetime athlete, coach, and community member who fiercely fights for the character, moral, and good sportsmanship within the many athletic teachable moments, in every athletic opportunity, I have the utmost respect and appreciation for our inductees and what they represent to Algonquin. Algonquin has been running this tradition for over 20 years, and I would like to thank Mr. Rob Berger, the Hall of Fame Induction Committee, Athletic Council, A.D. Masserino, Ms. Burns, Superintendent Martineau, and our Athletic Boosters organization for keeping this tradition going. A sincere thank you to our inductees and their unmatchable supremacy in good sportsmanship, athletic skill, culture, and moral leadership here at Algonquin in Teac Nation. Athletics for many is more than just a sport. It is the gateway to passion, to success, to lifelong lessons that build character long into adulthood. And every one of our inductees understands and exudes this excellence in their daily life. Each of our inductees understands and supports our motto of building champions, while supporting the growth of the whole student athlete. Our inductees' leadership exemplifies what it means to be a forever athlete, a forever fan, and a forever champion in athletics. As everyone here today is aware of, the number of coaches, community members, and student athletes that come through these halls, fields, the pitch, I've been practicing, and courts each year. How few make it into the Hall of Fame to represent the true spirit of Teac Nation. It is with this understanding that I have the greatest pride and honor in welcoming each of you into this major accomplishment. Congratulations to each and every one of you. May you carry our Teac pride forward and be forever remembered for your support and outstanding accomplishments. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Walsh. And lastly, Mr. Rob Berger would like to come up and say a few words for closing out the ceremony.
Well, we're coming to a close for another ceremony. I want to thank everybody for being here. Congratulations to all the inductees. Tom, congratulations on your Spirit Award, truly deserved. So I want to leave here by saying one thing to the inductees. If you're not helping out in your community, local, statewide, countrywide, around the world, get involved in your community. If you are involved, keep up the great work. Thank you for being here today. We appreciate it.
Again, thank you all for attending today's ceremony, and I do have to say again, congratulations to all our 11 inductees in the class of 2019. If all of the inductees could come up here to the podium so we could get a group photo, that would be great. Again, have a great weekend. Thank you for coming. Congratulations again.